Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another ranking video. I recently filmed a ranking my brow pencils. In fact, I filmed it right before this, but I think it'll go up, like a week or something before. I'm wearing the same thing. Anyways, I really enjoyed filming that video, so I figured, you know what? I'm gonna do another one of those because these have kind of been going around YouTube lately and I really enjoy watching people's thoughts on ranking certain things in their collection. So today, I'm ranking Urban Decay Naked palettes. I feel like for a while there, everybody talked about Naked palettes. It was like the OG, everyone, it was just Naked this, Naked that, Naked that. And the Naked palette would come out and everyone was like, oh my God. And now people don't really talk about them anymore. So I don't know, I'm sure pretty much any makeup junkie has some Naked palette in their collection and maybe this will inspire you to pull it out and use it. But yeah, to my knowledge, there's 8 Naked palettes and I'm not going to include the Little Basics palettes because I know there's a couple of those too, but this is just the full size Naked palettes that I wanted to talk about, and to my knowledge, there's 8 of them. Okay, number 7 and 8 of my ranking, I'm only ranking these 7 and 8 because I haven't tried them yet. I have tried every Naked palette except for those 2, and I don't want to rank them, so I guess I shouldn't rank them 7 and 8. I should just rank them I don't know, NA. I can make up the rules. I'll rank them as NA, but I have not tried Naked Honey or Naked Cherry. Those are the 2 newest ones that have come out and I haven't purchased them yet. I have swatched Naked Honey and I was this close to buying it at the end of last year, but I didn't buy it. I feel like the colors are very, very warm and they're very, very yellow, and it makes sense. It's honey themed, but I just have a lot of those colors in my collection already, so I didn't purchase it. Naked Cherry came out a little bit before Naked Honey, I think, and it's all kind of red themed colors, and it's another color palette that I already have a ton of red tone shadows in my collection, so I didn't want to add another one on top of that. But I do appreciate the fact that Urban Decay kind of spread their wings and tried out different color themes for their Naked palettes. I think the Naked Cherry one smells like cherries also. I think some of that line smelled like cherries. But yeah, I haven't tried on my eyes either of those. Okay, number 6, I have to look, I have them on my phone. Number 6 is the Naked 2 palette. This is one that it was the first Naked palette to ever be decluttered from my collection. And it was the second Naked palette to ever come out. So because it was the second one that was still in the hustle and bustle of Naked madness, that of course I bought it on launch day. I actually remember I walked into Ulta with my mom and sister and I was like, oh, Naked 2 palette. And that was before I started filming YouTube videos, a while before I started filming YouTube videos. So of course I bought it. It is cool toned, which I think is one of the reasons why I didn't love it as much as some of the other ones. I'm not a huge cool toned eyeshadow fan. It also had the tin packaging. So the Naked 3 also has the tin packaging. The Naked 2 was the first one to have that packaging. I didn't like that packaging, and I think when the Naked 3 came out, they might have changed it just a little bit, so it closed a little bit better, but the Naked 2 doesn't close very well. Also, a reason why I didn't like that shadow, and I know this is kind of me being well, that doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't make you rank it any lower, but it had a matte black, oh my God, a matte black powder in that palette, and mine broke. And because it broke, that palette was a huge mess for me. I tried to press it in and put it back together, but inevitably it never was normal again. And it just got everywhere. It was so stinking messy, and because it was so messy, and because it was cool toned, and because I didn't use it very much, and because I didn't like the packaging, I ended up decluttering it. It was the first one to leave my collection. Okay, number 5 is Naked Heat. So I did buy this palette and I did film a video on it. I will link that video down below for you guys. This was the first Naked palette to have that really warm red orange undertone theme to it. And right when that palette came out, those colors were very, very popular. It was right around the same time that the original Jaclyn Hill palette came out, and I remember I really liked that palette. I did. I think the eye look I came up with was really pretty. In fact, I look back at that picture and I'm like, dang, that eye look was really, really pretty. But I remember I opened it up and I compared it to the Jaclyn Hill palette that I had. And I was like, all of these colors are in this Jaclyn Hill palette. On top of that, that same time, there was a bunch of other warm tone palettes that were just coming out. I think the Tartelette Toasted came out around that same time. And I just was overwhelmed with warm palettes. So Because of that, I did declutter it from my collection, and because of that, I feel like it's ranked a little bit lower in the whole Naked family, simply because I feel like it was poorly timed. I feel like if it would have come out a couple of months earlier, it would have beat some of these other palettes, and it would have been more of like, oh my gosh, look at this warm palette, you know? But, yeah. I think the packaging on that one was really cool too. If I remember correctly, it was like a Matchbox packaging. Like it looked like matches, and it was really cool. Number 4 is the Naked Smoky palette, and I really liked this one. I think this one was the first one to come out that had a plastic package. Naked Heat also had the plastic package, and I think Naked Honey and Naked Cherry also have the plastic package. Naked Smoky was like the 4th Naked palette to ever come out, I think. Naked Smoky is another one that you will see at like a really discounted price all the time. So you'll either see it at like TJ Maxx. So because of that, I feel like a lot of people actually have the palette, which is really nice. I also, if I remember correctly, it's split into 2, and half of it is like glitter colors and the other half is matte colors. I really like the fact that it had a lot of mattes in the palette. Some of these Naked palettes you'll see, they just definitely have more shimmers than mattes, and I feel like that's kind of how Urban Decay is. A lot of their shadows lean very glittery, very shimmery, and the Naked Smoky had a lot of mattes in it, which was really, really nice. The reason why I ended up decluttering Naked Smoky from my collection is it's cool toned. It's very, very cool toned, and like I was saying before, I don't love these super cool toned palettes. I just don't use them. But it was really good, and if you're looking for a palette that has a good combination of shimmers and mattes and a good spectrum of colors, there was a black in there if I remember correctly, you had a couple of like beiges in there, cream colors, and like a little bit of everything in between, then that one is a really good one to go to. Okay, we're getting to the top 3. So number 3, and I have the top 3 in my collection still, so I could actually show them to you instead of just showing you a picture. Number 3 is the Naked Reloaded. So this was supposed to be the replacement for the original Naked palette. So 2 years ago, I think it was, Urban Decay thought they'd be cool. They'd do something, you know, fancy, and they put to rest, discontinued the original Naked palette, and the makeup community freaked out. Why would you do that, Urban Decay? Why would you discontinue the OG, the original Naked palette? Just why? We'll get to that in a minute. You guys, I'm still in extreme disbelief that Urban Decay is discontinuing the Naked palette. There's absolutely no way. They would never do that. Why would they do that? That is the OG original eyeshadow palette. That's the first eyeshadow palette I ever purchased. I hit pan on several shades, and in fact, I just recently decluttered that 2 weekends ago. I'm on my way to Ulta right now to buy me a backup. Please still have some. So their replacement for the original Naked palette was this Naked Reloaded palette. First of all, I really do like the packaging. It's the only one of the Naked collection that has this like felt cushiony package. Or like satin cushiony package. It's really cool. It's really unique. It doesn't get very dirty, so you can kind of just like wipe it off, and it's really, I don't know, and I feel like it's a little bit more dirty and sturdy, durable, sturdy, and hardy. Like you can kind of bump it around and it's not going to break or anything like that. It also doesn't come with a brush. If you've noticed, a lot of the other Naked palettes came with a brush in them. The original Naked had an eyeliner pencil in it, a dual-ended eyeliner pencil, but the newer ones have brushes in them, and this is the first one that doesn't have that brush in it, and I think because of that, they made the palette a little bit cheaper, I think. Anyways, what I really like about this palette is I feel like it was really well thought out. I feel like they kind of took some of the favorites from all the different palettes and put it all into one palette. And the 2 colors that you will probably use most often are larger pans. And all of the other Naked palettes, all the pan sizes are exactly the same. They're very uniform. This one, you have varying sizes, which I think is a good idea because inevitably you hit pan and you finish up a certain color before the rest of the palette, and it makes sense to just give you more of that color, less of the other colors, you know what I mean? I also like that there's a good spectrum of mattes in this palette, so these 3 at the end are all mattes. This one is a matte, this one is a satin, that one is a matte. So I feel like you get more mattes in this palette than some of the other Naked palettes like I was talking about before, and I feel like you can't really do a whole eye look without having a couple of matte colors. I also feel like the combination of like shimmers in this palette was really thought out. Sometimes you'll get a palette that has like a really dark shimmer color in it, and in my opinion, I don't use dark shimmers very often. I usually will use a light shimmer all over my lid, and I just feel like the shimmers in this palette were really well thought out. I don't know, I really like this palette. I know a lot of people didn't like this palette. I think they were just bitter that it was supposed to replace the original, but it's number 3 for me. Number 2 is the Naked 3 palette. This is the rose gold palette for Naked. I remember when this baby came out and it was madness, you guys. People swooped this off of shelves and it was impossible to find for months. It sold out. They had to restock it. It was going on eBay for like hundreds of dollars. It was insane. It was madness. And I actually had to wait until the second round, or maybe it was the third round of this being released to actually get my hands on it because it was that much of a hot commodity. This is one of the only products that I was this close to actually purchasing on eBay for like triple the price. I know, but I didn't, but I was almost going to. I don't love the tin packaging, but I'm willing to look past the tin packaging for the rose gold theme of this palette. And this was really the first rose gold palette to hit the market. It was very innovative. Rose gold wasn't really a color that was used very often in other palettes before this one. So I think that's kind of what created this craze. Everyone was like, oh my God, rose gold on your eyes? Oh my gosh, yes. And that was really in the height of like rose gold being a huge thing. I've hung on to it. Oh my God, I can't talk today. I've hung on to it through many, many declutters because it really is the original rose gold palette for me. I love it. It doesn't have as many mattes in it as I would like, but the mattes that are in the palette seem to be really well thought out mattes. So you have a matte cream, a matte crease color right here, a matte deepening color right here, and then a really dark matte right here. And really, those are the mattes that you need to create like a really defined like eye look with a bunch of different definitions. You know what I'm trying to say? I also really, really like this color. The name is rubbing off on the palette, so I think it's called Dust. It's the second one in. I really, really like that one as an all over lid color. It's a good one. It is. All right, guys. Number 1 is the original Naked palette, the OG Naked palette. This is actually the second original Naked palette that I bought. I had the OG, like the original round with the double-ended eyeliner pencil that I bought a long, long, long time ago when it first released, and it really was the OG kind of palette that started it all, palette that started the makeup craze. It was for a long time the only makeup palette that I actually had, the only eyeshadow palette that I actually had. I used it every single day to get ready, and I had actually hit pan and finished up these first 3 colors in my original Naked palette. I did declutter it in one of my declutter videos. I don't remember which one it is. If I can find it, I'll link it down below for you guys so you can see like how beat up my original Naked palette was. And I remember I decluttered it right before they said they were going to discontinue it. So that'll help me find it timeline wise. But I remember I was like, oh, you know, if I ever need to rebuy it, I can just go out and rebuy it. But this one's beat up, it's old, it's expired, and I threw it away. And then like that following week or something like that, they announced that they were discontinuing the original one. And I was like, holy cow, I just threw mine away. And so I remember that same day, and I Snapchatted about this. If you follow me on Snapchat, you probably remember. I don't use Snapchat anymore, by the way. But I remember, maybe it was Instagram stories, I don't know. But I remember saying like, oh my gosh, why would they discontinue this palette? Matt does not understand. He thinks I'm insane and that I'm panicking for no reason. But think of it like this. If you're an Oreo fan, right? What if Oreo announced they were discontinuing the original Oreo and all they were doing was keeping like, the spin-offs, like the weird ones they've come out with afterwards, but they were discontinuing the original Oreo. Why would Oreo do that? Why would Urban Decay do this? I am in disbelief. It has to be a publicity stunt. I'm convinced. Holy cow, what were they thinking? So I remember zooming to Ulta. All of the original Naked palettes were 50% off, so I bought it, and this is, you know, the repurchased one that I bought. I've only used this one a couple of times because, to be honest, I find myself reaching for so many other palettes over all of the Naked palettes. Like I was saying before, I feel like the makeup community just in general kind of forgot about these Naked palettes. So I reached for, you know, my Natasha Denona, Charlotte Tilbury, things like that, Too Faced. But this is the OG, this is the original, and it has to be number 1, you guys. It has to, simply because it's the only one I bought 2 of, if we're being honest. The packaging is really cool. It's the only one that has this like felt kind of velvet packaging. It's really unique in and of itself. The one downside is there isn't a ton of mattes in this palette. Like I was saying before, there's really only 3 mattes. You have Virgin right here, which I think actually has a sheen to it, but it can pass as a matte. Naked and Buck. And in fact, Naked and Buck I have purchased in this single pan. I've also purchased the color Sin in a single pan. So the color Sin is beautiful, you guys. It's the color, I actually wore this on my wedding day. So in my original Naked palette, I used that color completely up. Then I went and bought a single pan of it, used it completely up, and now I'm on my second single pan of Sin. It's just a beautiful all over lid color. It is a beautiful kind of champagne, beigey, it's, you know, you swatch it and it's nothing special, but it is just the most beautiful. It has the most beautiful undertone and it looks great on your eyelids. So those are the colors that really make the palette for me, would be Sin, Naked, and Buck, and Virgin. If I could have a palette of just those like 4 colors. I also really like the color Hustle. In my original Naked palette, I did hit pan on that one as well. It's crazy to talk about hitting pan on eyeshadow palettes, like who does that nowadays, but I did with the original Naked. So yeah, that's it. That is how I rank, oh my god, I can't talk today, the 8 Naked palettes that are on the market. Let me know in the comment section down below how you would rank the 8 Naked palettes, and if you have any of these, like which one is your favorite, which one is your least favorite. Like I really want to know because people don't talk about Naked palettes anymore. So I think this would be fun to talk about and get going in the comment section. So yeah, let's do this, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you next time. Bye.